Hello my friends all over the world, wherever you are. Today I'm making some juice with curly leaf kale, carrots, and a number of other ingredients that somebody gave me, some organic produce. Let's look at what that is. The juice today is going to include French sorrel and carrots, curly leaf kale, 3 medium-sized beets, 1 kohlrabi plant, and 4 small turnips, as well as turmeric, ginger, and 1 head of garlic. So let's start making juice. I'm going to begin today by feeding some ice cubes through the front-loading feed tube, but I want to point out I'm using the near zero blowback cutter that has over 80 teeth cut in, and even if I didn't use ice cubes, this cutter would shred produce 4 degrees centigrade cooler. So let's put the cutter on. We'll plug in the thermometer on the left side, and I'll feed in 3 or 4 ice cubes to cool down this feed tube. Okay, I'm going to begin by feeding in the curly leaf kale. Now for some beets. Well, that's pretty big. I'm going to have to cut it in half. And my temperature's up to 23. So the next thing I'll do is put in some ice cubes. Put in 3 ice cubes. 4 ice cubes. Another beet. Now for some turnips. This one's too big, so we'll cut it in half. And the last of my turnips. And this one's too big, so I'll cut it in half. For some turmeric, garlic, ginger, and the rest of my turmeric. I'm going to clean my grid before it gets too clogged up. And with a small knife, scrape both sides, put it back in and continue. Over 20 again. You can go as high as 35, but I like to get ice cubes in when it reaches 20. For my French sorrel. Continue with the French sorrel until I'm done. temperature is almost 30. Up to 35 is okay, but I like to keep it below 20 if possible, if I don't forget like I just did now. And we'll continue with carrots. But I'm going to change from the J grid for juice to the number 2 grid, which is 1/8 inch holes. Better for carrots. Check your wing nuts every so often. Put some ice cubes in and then we'll continue with carrots. Here's the last of my carrots. Now, one of the things I love about this front-loading feed tube is that it shreds everything, and you can see in here if anything is not shred. But just to be sure, I'm going to put a couple of fingers full of pulp in there and push it through. Now with the top-loading feed tube, you always have a plug of produce in there, so with any top-loading feed tube, you absolutely must push some already shred pulp through a second time. So what I'm going to do now is take this apart, clean it, reassemble, then press some juice. Unplug the thermometer, pull out the grid holder and the grid, clean those, and then clean the feed tube. And if there's any pulp on the cutter, clean that off too, because we're going to clean the cutter as well as the feed tube. Either with a spray nozzle like I have or with a damp rag, damp dishcloth, clean the front. Let's get all that excess water off the countertop. And then assemble again. You can clean the top or not. I don't usually do it. I mean dry it with a paper towel. The cutter goes on the top with the hole facing down. Never leave it on the juicer. Produce thoroughly, and whenever you have carrots in your mix, you don't need to use a bamboo liner. This mix will not stick to the cloths. If it was only greens, you would need a bamboo liner. Rotate your bowl in both directions, you'll get a better mix that way. A new set of 6 cloths here. You can reuse your cloths up to 4 or 5 times until they start squirting juice at you. So I'm pulling my folding container out so the cloths do not touch the countertop, just because you don't know how clean your countertop really is, and I want this to be as clean as possible. So let's put 3 scoops into each cloth, and I'm going to demonstrate my 6 cloth less work method. And we fold the pulp into thirds, just like the cloths came in their package, folded in thirds. And we'll put this aside. And 3 more scoops. Again, folding it in thirds. Press that down. As tight a package as you can make. And then we'll put these first 2 in the press. Again, centered. Left to right, centered front to back, all the way back, back it off and turn on the machine. And we'll continue until we're done. 3 scoops. my 6-cloth less work method. This goes forward, that goes over, the spent cloths go on top. 2 more cloths in the press, centered, left to right, centered, front to back, adjust if need be, all the way back, back it off. Now, you never throw away your pulp. Most people would throw away this pulp, and I guarantee you there's at least 10% more juice in this. So 2 scoops, not 3, on top of the old pulp or the spent pulp. And fold it in thirds again. Flatten that, set it aside. Go in there on your last cloth, advance that all the way. 2 scoops, and you can see it's damp around the edges, so that's an indication you have not gotten all of the juice out of it. So 2 scoops approximately. Flatten that, and my less work 6-cloth method again. This goes forward, that goes over. The spent cloths go on top, and we continue like this until we're done. Again, make sure the press is on the press plate's on the plate, centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back, back it off, and continue this way until we're done. That's that all the way when you're in your last cloth. And again, my 6-cloth less work method. This goes forward, that goes over, and the spent cloths go on top. Into the press. Make sure it's on your press plate properly. It's always a good idea to get in the habit of doing that. Centered left to right, centered front to back, adjust if need be, all the way back it off a little bit. Now later on we might only put 1 scoop on here, but this is still pretty thin. So we'll put 2 scoops on here. This is getting very full, so I'm going to keep my eye on that bowl. And again, the 6-cloth less work method. This goes forward, that goes over. Now since this container is full, I'm going to turn the machine off, put these cloths up here and fill some bottles. So that's what we'll do now. But because this tends to drip on your countertop, I'm going to put it back, not a little, a lot. And I remind you again, if you put it back just a little bit, you will forget and you'll damage your juice tray. So put it back so it's very, very obvious. So let's fill some bottles. I'm filling this from the back side only because I want the camera to get a good view. And notice I'm leaving about 10%. I'm going to add filtered water because the juice is already much too concentrated. So let's make more juice. Now we'll continue making juice. Put the collection bowl below the juice tray. Make sure it's on the press plate properly. We'll put 2 more cloths full of pulp in the tray. Again, centered left to right, centered front to back, adjust if need be, all the way back it off a little bit. Now the reason you back it off is you don't want this to go up too fast. If it goes up too fast, it'll be slippery and your cloths could slip apart. Now this patty here is very, very thick, so what I'm going to do is put 1 large scoop on top instead of 2. And we'll continue this way until we're done. Later, advance that all the way. Pull this in a very tight package. cloths. Put them there because I'm going to repackage them. Centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back, back it up. Now, most people would throw this pulp away. I'm going to show you how I can get at least 10% or more from repackaging this and pressing it again. Now watch carefully. I'm going to put it into a tight ball, and then I'm going to make as tight a package as I can by rolling this cloth under itself in both directions, and advance that all the way. Put flat mat, set it aside, and repackage this pulp again. Now, let's put in the last 2 sets of cloths, and then continue repackaging the spent pulp. Left to right centered, front to back centered, all the way back, back it off a little. Now my friends, as you can see, I have 3 double packets of already pressed pulp, and this is pulp that most people would throw away. Now I'm going to show you how you can get at least 10% more juice. 10% more juice is a lot of juice, and most people throw it away. So we'll put 2 packets in the press. Make sure it's on the press plate. Center it left to right. This is very, very important. Center it left to right, and you won't damage your press tray. Front to back, all the way back. Back it off a little bit. Turn on your machine. And when I get juice flow, I'm going to advance that all the way. We'll advance that all the way. Make sure we're getting every last drop. Now when you get droplets like this, it's time to put in 2 more cloths full of pulp. Now one reason we're getting 10% more juice is the way we package this. Another reason is a solid bottom plate that comes with all Whole Health Foundation models. So we'll put in 2 more sets of repackaged pulp, centered left to right, centered front to back. Make sure it's on the press plate properly, all the way back. Back it off a little. Now keep your eye on this. When we get juice flow, we'll advance it all the way. So far we have 5.5 ounces. We still have a steady flow, so we'll leave it up. I'm repackaging this one more time because, as you can see, it's damp around the edges, and that's an indication there's still more juice in here. So we'll make this as tight a ball as I can. Now we have droplets again, so I'll back that off. Now there, I've repackaged it again. This I probably could repackage more because I see it's still damp around here, but I'm not going to. I want this video to be a little bit shorter. So we'll put this in the press, center it again, left to right, centered front to back, check if it's on the press plate, all the way back, back it off a little bit. And as soon as I get juice flow, I'll advance that all the way. Oh, I think that's a significant amount more. 14 ounces, almost 15, that's another bottle of juice. And we still have this one to press. And all the way. Now there's a full 16 ounces already. Let's put another cloth in here and see if we can get any more out. All the way back, back it off a little bit. Well, apparently we're getting more. So we have another 18 ounces of juice from the pulp that most people would throw away. And it looks like 10 bottles. And we'll have enough left over for a taste test. I'm topping this off with distilled water. I use distilled water. You could use filtered water or even bottled water. Now I'm topping these off so they just overflow. That way I know for sure there's no air in the bottles. And I will top these off and put them in the refrigerator. Now my friends, as you can see, we have 5-10 bottles of juice, enough for a taste test. And remember, about 1 1/3 of these bottles came from pressing the already spent pulp that most people would have thrown away. That's a little over 10%. Well, let's do a taste test. Now remember to always wash all the pulp off your cloths, fold them in thirds like they came packaged, and press all the water out, then put them in a plastic bag into the freezer. If you don't press the water out and you put them in the freezer, they will be so rock hard you won't be able to take them out unless you thaw them for a half hour. The reason you put them in the freezer is you cannot get airborne contaminants or other germs to grow in the freezer. So there we have droplets. We're done. And we'll put this in a plastic bag into the freezer. My friends, a taste test, and as I recall we have French sorrel, curly leaf kale, kohlrabi, beets, turnips, and I guess that's about it. Let's give it a taste. Oh, that's delicious. Well, yes, I remember we put in some garlic, some turmeric, and some ginger. Well, I hope you like what you've seen, my friends. If you do, please tell a friend. If you'd like to call me, either to get information, buy a juicer, or parts or supplies, my phone number is 760-753-0321. My email address is developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is wholehealth.com. See you in the next video.